There we go. So when you click on assignments, it's probably going to say, yeah, right here you'll put homework, and it says your instructor has not created any homework for you. I do that on purpose. Why? Because I guarantee you somebody in here is going to go home and try to do the homework before I start the class. Somebody will do that. So that's why I leave it closed. All right? So when we start going over homework, that's when I start opening it up. But that's where you find the homework. And you got to use this toggle switch. Quizzes and tests and homework. Quizzes and tests, there's quizzes. Now, what is this down here? That's generic tests. They come no matter what. Okay, let's say that you don't have a teacher that uses this. Those tests are still there. They come with the book. They come with the access to mylabsplus. So what are they for? Well, if you were in an independent setting where you sit in a computer lab and work on individual assignments, that would be used. But most of the time, they're not used, especially by classrooms or classes. Also, they don't count for anything because the grading, the weights have been turned off because we're in the classroom setting. So what do students use it for? Extra practice without consequence, practice problems, and the format of the test. If you're trying to see what the format of the test is going to look like, it's also helpful for students because it doesn't cost you anything as far as points. It's a double-edged sword though. What's the other side of the sword? Well, the other side of the sword is their chapter 2 test may cover material that I don't cover. Okay? I streamline my test. I don't just go through and teach all of the unit. Okay? All of the unit. Like in your book, you have 5.1 through 5.9. Well, we have tailored what is important, and we only cover 4 sections out of 9 sections, or whatever the case may be. So their Chapter 5 test will be more varied than my Chapter 5 test. There'll be questions on there that you ain't never seen before because we cut the extra problems out that we don't cover. The 5.9 questions that we don't cover, we don't put that in the homework. So the downside is you may see material on these tests that we don't cover. And you just need to tell yourself to skip it and don't do it. Because if you try to do it, then you're going to get confused because you don't know the material that we've cut. We haven't covered it. So don't try to do stuff that you, and I suggest to do it after you've done the homework because you know what's in the homework, you know what to skip. Okay? So the generic tests, they're just extra practice, format for the test, and just extra practice. I don't know what else I said, but anyway, that's it. Now, if you want to do that with homework problems, go to chapter contents and write this down because you're going to forget about chapter contents. Chapter contents, there's several things that you can do with chapter contents. I'm going to mention 2 of them. All right? One thing you can do with chapter contents is print out your book section by section. Now, remember when I told you not to buy a book? If you haven't bought a book, don't buy a book. And if you haven't opened one, don't open it yet. Well, the reason is when you go to chapter contents, let's go to chapter 5, and I think we cover 5.1. If you'll see, there's the e-text right there. E-text is a word for electronic text or electronic book. It's on the computer. You click on it. It'll take you to that section, and you can print out that section on your printer. Okay? Now, if you look on page 204 in your book, it's going to look exactly like this. They've just taken the file they sent to the publisher and put it on this. All right? It's the same thing. So, you don't have to buy the book because everybody that gets an access code and gets on mylabplus has the book online. So, therefore, you can share a book in class. You can borrow a book, you can use an old book, you can buy a new book, or not bring a book at all, or you can print out this book in sections and put it in a notebook. All right? So now you need to make a decision on what book you want. If you don't want to buy the book, you can go online and get the access code. What is it, $20 to $40 cheaper without the book, I think, and it's about $10 cheaper. So you might save yourself anywhere from 20 to 50 bucks, okay, not buying a book, okay? But there's, pay now or pay later. You don't have to print out if you buy a book, but if you don't buy a book and you want something tangible in class, then you need to get a little notebook and you need to get plenty of ink cartridges and print them out. Usually they keep the sections, and that's the section that's explaining, and they have little homework sections after the section of reading. All that is usually within 10 pages. So count up your sections, and that's how many sheets of paper you're going to use. If you got a printer that does front and back, then take half of that. So in chapter 5, we do 4 sections, so that's going to be about 40 pages. Buy you one of these little notebooks, 1-inch notebooks, and stick them in there. The good thing about it is you can write on it, and not a big deal because it's just notebook paper. It's just printer paper. So you make the decision now what you want to do about your book, but that's how you print it. You go through chapter contents, and you go through e-text, and then after you do that, get this thing out of the way. After you do that, you go up here to the print button. Where is it? Up here, print. And you can print, most of the time it's less than 10 pages. See? 10 pages. Okay? That's how you do that. So then you get that through chapter contents. The other thing you get through chapter contents is study plan. And write down study plan, because the study plan is the way that you can do extra homework problems and not be penalized by points. It's just like those generic tests. The grading, it'll tell you if you got it wrong. It'll tell you if you got it right or wrong, but it's not going to go into my grade book that you got 10 wrong. It's not going to go in. I'm not going to see it. Well, I can see it. I just choose not to because it's just generic problems. Okay? You also can do just like the homework and regenerate. Do similar problem and to do another problem to get extra practice. There's an infinite amount of problems you can do in the homework and the study plan with this. Therefore, nobody should fail this class unless you have LAD or SAD, which is lazy attitude disorder and stupid attitude disorder, or dumb attitude disorder, meaning that you're too lazy or you're not cognitive to where you can do problems over and over and over. All right? Most of the time, I hate to tell y'all this, and y'all meaning I tell all my classes this, most of the time the people that fail my class, they're just pure T lazy. They do. And I'm not talking about the people that make a C. I'm talking about the people that make like a 27 and a 32. And then you got the people, with these people, that's the drama queens. I don't have many drama kings. Okay? I've got drama queens. I got the sky fell and hit my house and it blew up, and I got in the car and my wheels fell off, and all of this stuff. And you know what I want to say to them? Quit. Quit. You don't need to go to school. You got too much going on. And of course, I know that half of it's exaggerated. All right? Because nobody has what these drama queens has to hit them in one day. Just all kinds of, the people I'm talking about, right? There's just all the time something going on. So, those two things with with study plan and the homework and infinite amount of problems, if you fail this class, it's because of you, not because of me, not because of the board, not because of the chairs, not because of the windows, not because of the Russians. It's all you. And we have a lot of people that are having a problem with that here, I'd say the last 15 years. It starts with an A. What is it called? When you take charge of yourself and your actions. What's that called? Accountability. And we get a lot of students that have a problem with that. Just give me a C. I'll just sit in here all semester. Just give me a C. Where do you get that from? I don't understand that. Maybe y'all can enlighten me where that comes from. I don't know. I've never had that before. So I don't know. You can watch a video. Some of y'all you visual learners. Guys are usually visual learners. I don't need no directions. Y'all heard that before. I can put this bike together. Puts the bike together just looking at the picture. And then there's a bunch of parts on the floor. And the girlfriend or the wife picks them up. And what does she say? What are these for? Oh, those are spare parts. Johnny's in the ditch with the front tire in the ditch because the front tire or the front wheel or the steering came off because he didn't read the directions. All right? Guys are bad about that. All right? There's your answer. You can do a video lecture. Now, why do I use Mylabsplus? The reason I use MyLabs, the number one reason I started back in 98. And I had students buying diskettes, and they would push the diskettes in. You have to install the program, and then you had 2 disks that had the homework problems on it. And you had to do those. It was real primitive. But I started doing it because the students could have the access to the resources, even on those diskettes, to do the number one thing that students have a problem with at home is to get over the hump when you don't know how to do a problem. Okay? And you may have seen this in physics. You may have seen it in chemistry. The sciences and the math has always had that problem. Students go home, they're doing 20 problems of homework, and they can't get past the second problem. And that's what this is for. Not, I'm trying to not do my job. In fact, I'm going to explain to you in just a minute, it makes me work more in the classroom because I have more time to teach. Okay? That's the whole purpose. But when you do the homework, and you're going to see this in just a minute, it gives you 5 or 6 different methods of getting over that hump. All right? Because that's when the redneck disorders, they say, oh, Hubert just don't want to do his job. I can't do my job while you're at home doing homework. Now, people have asked me to do a video and post it, and I've done that before. People have asked me to do a couple of problems, and I do it on the webcam here, and I put it on. People ask me to do that in the office, and I do that. But I can't come set up a whiteboard at your house and start teaching. I can't do that. All right? Lord have mercy. I have to go to BFE here and BFE here, and I live in BFE. All right? So that would be just not right. Okay? So don't expect me to come to your house. So that erases that problem or that attitude of, well, he just don't want to do his job. No, the whole purpose for me doing this is for you to have the help at home when you need it. Okay? The second reason I use this program, and I use in calculus, my business calculus, I use what's called WebAssign. And a lot of people say, why do you use these things? Because I'm lazy. Yeah, that's why I do it. Because one thing good about this website, it doesn't care whether you're red and yellow, black and white. It doesn't care whether you're male or female. It doesn't care whether you got red hair or blue hair or no hair. It doesn't care whether you wear flip-flops or high heels. And that's one thing I love about it, because in the, 1997 to 2000, 20 years? In the 20-something years I've been using Course Compass, and that's what it was called originally. 20 years I've been using it. I've never had a student come up to me and say, this program just don't like me. It took points off. No, it didn't. You got out grade-wise of my math lab what you put into it, what you earned. And nobody can say that, oh, that program's just biased. Can't do it. I've never had anybody come up to me and say that. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. and I haven't. So that's the second reason I use it. What's the third reason? The third reason I use it is really a third and fourth reason. It's because, one, what do you benefit from as a student in class? Teaching time. That's what you benefit from. I benefit with not having to deal with grades. How many of you cannot stand doing a report or doing a test and not getting it back 3 or 4 weeks? Some of y'all chomp at the bit. I used to when I was in a class that I could pass. Okay? Well, when I understood the material, I wanted to get that test back. All right? I didn't want it if I sucked at it. I didn't want it back. But anyway, you get the test back. That's another reason, the instant feedback. But also, I don't have to spend time in class. And a lot of people say, well, that ain't much time. Think about it. If I give you an in-class test, I got to take 1 day to pass it out and for you to take it, right? And I got to take 1 day to give it back to you. And if I'm worth a flip, go over it, right? So that's 2 days per unit test. How many units we got in this class? 4 times 2 is what? 8. Thank you, class. That's 8 days. I could be what? Teaching. Let's talk about the homework. You remember in high school when the teacher went around and checked to see if you copied the answers in the back of the book correctly? Y'all remember that? Okay. That's 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how long it is and if you got your stuff organized and you ain't got to look through your book bag to get it and all that. And if I got 30 students versus 15, all right, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Let's say 15. That's 15 times 2, which is 30 minutes a week. 30 minutes times 14 weeks is about 2 hours and a half. So we're talking now, not 8 days, but 10 days to 11 days, depending on how big the class is. That's 11 days I could be teaching. Now what happens is, instead of teaching boom, 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 okay, we're going to do 5.1 today, and you're going 5.2 tomorrow, and 5.3 next day. I don't do it that way. I let you, the students, gauge how fast this class goes. And how do I do that? I'll tell you in just a minute. All right? But that's 4 or 5 reasons I use Mylabsplus. There is not a negative reason not to use Mylabsplus. There's no negatives. All right? With me taking the excuses away that I take from you, and with what I give you on this, with doing the problems over and over and over, and taking the test 3 or 4 times, people don't understand why I do that. They think I'm trying to give them points. You ever had the student that didn't like to do homework? Well, we have those from time to time in math. If I give you 30 problems on a test, and you take it 3 times, how many times have you done problems? 3 times 30 is what? 90. You've done 90 problems. What did you just do taking 3 attempts? You just practiced 3 times. You just did homework. Okay? So if I get the student that don't want to do the homework, they get a 0 on the homework. By the time they take 3 tests with 30 questions on it, what have they done? They've basically done homework problems. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I give you 3 or 4 times. I know, I'm a bastard. Okay? I get you no matter what. There's only one way to fail this class. And that 2 ways. To be non-sentient and to be lazy. Or to be lazy. That's the only way. Biting, okay? Somebody having a misfortunate wreck, death in the family, blah, 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 that just messes up your whole apple cart. I'm pushing that to the side. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just regular semester students. Nothing happening to you. Nothing that takes you out for 3 or 4 weeks. Nothing like that. Just regular. They're either lazy or they're non-sentient. Okay? Now, again, we're only talking about probably 1 or 2 students out of each class. Okay? And depending on the class and the size of the class and the time of the class, that has a lot to do with it too. This class will do good, very good. Why? Well, 1, it's small. 2, it's in the afternoon. Why do night students and afternoon students do better than morning students? Anybody know? Well, yeah, because you're awake. What else? Anybody else got an idea? You're getting there. Why is that? What do you notice about this class versus the morning classes? Anything?
Probably being asleep.
No.
Yeah, asleep.
The class average, the average age in this class is higher than my 8 o'clock. I can tell just by looking at you. Okay? And you're behaved, and you're listening, and you're not playing on the cell phone. Okay? So the average age in this class is higher than my 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock. Have you noticed that in your classes? If any of you got an 8, 9, or 10 o'clock, you'll notice that the average age is 17, 18, 19. Whereas a 2 o'clock or a 4 o'clock or maybe even a 12:45, you're going to have people that are getting off early, having a break, having a 2-hour lunch break. Their employers are working with them. And therefore, you have better decorum in the class. You have a better environment. Okay? So this class, I know I'm preaching to the choir, probably. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Just like I told my calculus class the other day. I'm not worried about it because if you got a class full of calculus students, you're not going to have any behavior problems because the losers have already been weeded out. Because that's what calculus is. It's a weeder class. It weeds out the people that aren't so serious. Okay? So, I'm not personally talking to y'all because I think everybody in here is probably going to make a C or better. I'm pretty much sure of it. Okay? But I have to tell you that because you have to get an idea of the way I'm thinking in order to understand the way I teach. And that's why I spend 2 days explaining this. Because 1, I take away your excuses. 2, I give you a comfortable learning environment. And 3, I give you all the tools you need to succeed in this class. So what's left? You. That's it. I mean, yeah, you can blame it on the color of the cushions in the seats. But that's just BS, and you know that. Okay? Just like the Russians. That's BS. All right, so I give you these things. I give you the study plan is extra. Again, it's a double-edged sword. There may be a 5.9 question in there. Okay, there may be something in there that I haven't covered. If you've never seen it in the study plan, just skip it. Okay, and when should you do the study plan or the extra test? After you have finished 5.1 homework. After you've done, if you want to do some extra, do similar questions. I'll show you that in just a minute. Do the homework, complete it, then do 5.1 study plan or wait and do the test after you finish the homework. Because then you'll know what's what. So that's that. So now you know what chapter contents is. Okay? I just started coming up today. Anyway, assignments. Study plan, don't just skip that because you can get it through chapter contents. What in the world do you think gradebook does? Now this just blows my mind. There are 3 bonus questions about gradebook. 4. You would not believe how many students call me up at the end of the semester and say, is there a way I can come by your office and see what my grade is? Oh, Lord. Yeah. Can you tell me what my grade is? And I tell them the same thing that I just told y'all about instant feedback. What you get is what you get in the gradebook. So what do you think gradebook is? It keeps up with your grades. Now, there's 2 in-class tests I'm going to give you, which is pretty much bogus. I just have to do it. Everybody probably make an A on it. It's not the big deal. I have to give you 2 in-class tests and 1 in-class final, and it's 10% of your grade, and everybody in here will probably make 100 on them, but I just have to give it to you. So if my department head asks you in the hallway next semester, did Hubert give you you say, yes, ma'am, and you won't be lying. Okay? I only do it because I have to do it. All right? And that's, the teachers, you always have, there's 2 or 3 rules in life. One is nothing is free, and the other one is there's always one. There's always one person in your classroom that's going to make things bad. There's always one person at your work that will always be a stick in the mud. Okay, well, we've got one, and she decided to bring forth to the department that we need to start having in-class tests. Well, 5 years ago, what were they preaching? You need to start doing this. Now, we've gone circle, and now you need to start doing, in about 5 more years, they're going to rip down all the things and put whiteboards up on the blackboards up on the board. And we'll go back to chalk. Some of these people are just, they're stick in the muds. I don't know what else to call them. They're just, and what is their retention rate as a teacher? 17%. Meaning that for every 10 students I have, 2 pass. So why are we taking advice from this person? Don't even get me started. So I have to give you 2 in-class tests and 1 in-class final. And if you make a bad grade on them, don't tell anybody because it'll be embarrassing. They're that simple. Okay? So make sure you show up because that's 10% of your grade. And we'll do it probably after the online test. I really don't care about it. I just have to do it. Y'all have done stuff at work that you have to do that you hate, right? Or you think is useless, right? Yes, Hubert. No, Hubert. Thank you, class. I love the interaction in this class. You need to work on it. Y'all need to work on it, okay? All right. So after that, let's look at a homework problem. Okay, let's go to homework. And it's not going to let me. Okay, I'll go to chapter contents. The homework and the study plan looks just alike. The same thing. Study plan. This is what your homework is going to look like. Usually we keep it around 15 to 20 questions. You will not have a homework with this many because we have too many snowflakes that'll complain about it. So you're not going to have a homework with that many. Now, if it was algebra or calculus where you need the repetition over and over and over, then you might see something like that, but you don't see it in one of these non-calculus and low algebra, we call them tech courses, tech maths. You don't see a lot of the repetition. And if I need you to do repetition, I'll put some more in there and make it another homework assignment. Okay, like homework 5.1, 5.1b. I'll put a B on it and I'll give you more problems. But I'm going to go ahead and click on one, and I'm just going to talk about what you see. Now here's the homework, and here's what it looks like. And you see you got your number, 35. Now what's that 35? Because it says 21 out of 47. Well, if you turn to 5.1 in your book, and you look at the homework section, you know, you got your reading section and you got your homework. If you look at number 35, this one looks like number 35 in the book. So you can mark it. Okay? So you have an extra problem to do. If you want to do an extra problem, do it by hand. All right? So with 21 out of 47, that tells you which number you're on out of your homework. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can pull that down, and it shows you do all, and it shows you all the problems, just like you saw right before you clicked on it. Okay? And the main thing I want to talk about is this. These are the 5 or 6 or 7 learning styles that I was telling you about. When it first started, there was only 2. There was help me solve this and video. And the videos you hardly ever saw because the little disc that they gave you, you try to watch that video on that disc and it just person would say, hello. It was like a robot. I mean, you didn't watch the videos because they sucked. And but now it's 2 styles of tutorials and a video and a textbook, and you can print, I'll show you what print is, and ask my instructor. Now, the great thing is 4 or 5 of these are for you at home. The ask my instructor and the print really don't help you at home. The 4 above it do. Now, sometimes you'll have a video and what's called a graphic tutorial. A graphic tutorial is just a PowerPoint, it's more of a graphic PowerPoint where you just have stuff sliding around and moving up and appearing and a person talking. So it's kind of like a computer graphic video without the person, okay? Whereas a video is a picture of a person standing in front of a chalkboard or a whiteboard, okay? So what has helped me solve this? Well, help me solve this. Think of the tutor that you had in the tutoring lab or at home or in school or whatever that asked you 50 questions per question. You ever had one of those? Okay, 2x plus 3 is equal to 4. We got a plus 3 right here. What do we have to do to get rid of a plus 3? And they ask you that. And you say, we got a minus 3. Okay, if we do it on one side, we have to do what? Do it on the other. And they ask you a question for every single step. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That's what this is. God, help me solve this. Write that down. Help me solve this is going to ask you questions. All right? Now, why am I telling you to write it down? Because you guys, y'all going to hate it. Y'all going to, especially the guys, because they don't have the patience. All right? So they're going to say, bump this. Give me something else. And I will in just a second. Who uses help me solve this? The student. There's 3 types of students. One is the student that hasn't been, let's see how they say it, I haven't been in high school in 50 years. All right? And it's only been like 2 years since they've been out of high school. And they say 50. All right? Y'all exaggerate just a little bit, okay? All right. And then you have the student that's been out for a couple of years. And then you have the student that's not been out of high school, but it's been 2 years since they had whatever we're going over. So in other words, there's a lapse of time in there, and the student needs a little bit of extra explanation, or the student has never seen the material before. Okay? Never seen the material before. We see this a lot in probability and statistics. Because a lot of students, they go through and take Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, graduate. Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Pre-Cal, graduate. Watered down Math 1, watered down Math 2, watered down Math 3, graduate. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. All right? The whole point is they never see probability and statistics until they decide, okay, I'm going to go to college. Boom, probability and statistics. I've never had that before. That's the students that use Help Me Solve This. Okay? Who uses this? Well, the impatient people that don't want to deal with Help Me Solve This. All right? View an example. Show me how to do it. Boom, boom, boom. You click on it. You just hit enter. Okay? Read, enter. Read, enter. Read, enter. Read, enter. You just read and it shows you how to do it. Takes out the questions. Who uses this? 80% of the students. Mostly everybody uses that. Okay, so you need to know that designation so you don't hit one day and hit one the other and then get mad at me because you didn't write down what they do. Okay, so that's how you do that. Here's the video. I'm not going to play the video because usually these people are kind of goofy. I'll play it just for a little bit.
For example, prime factorization by branching.
Okay, that's enough. All right, so it shows you the video, it shows you all that good stuff. These are for you visual learners. Visual learners are usually guys, but if you've ever put something together and you say, just give me the picture, then you're a visual person, or you've got visual tendencies. Versus the readers. I'm not a reader. I fall asleep reading the funny paper, okay? But the textbook is for the people that read. And for some reason, it's not coming up. I don't know what's going on. There's something up there I need to hit. I'm not going to worry about it. But you know when I pulled up the book a while ago for 5.1? Try it one more time. There it goes. There you go. See, if you turn to page 204, it looks just like that. So why would somebody need to do this? Well, they don't have a book. They didn't print it out. And they want to see, and they missed class, and they want to see what to do. That's when you would use that. And you like to read, which I don't. Okay? Thank goodness for audible.com. I've read 3 books or listened to 3 books in the last year because of audible.com. I cannot, I don't want to say I cannot read and you think I can't read. That's not what I meant. It's hard for me to read because I fall asleep. Anybody do that? You do it? Okay.
Especially on the passages we had in high school, the long passages.
Like when you're taking a standardized test.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll put me to sleep. And a lot of people, that's just a half a page. I've been put to sleep by reading lists. And I don't know why, it just puts me to sleep. So I am not a reader. But some of y'all can read War and Peace in 2 days. Or the Bible in 10 hours. Okay? Some of y'all can like speed read. And that's the kind of people that uses the text. Okay? Now, what if I'm just an old-fashioned person and I just want to do paper and pencil? Okay? Well, this is what you do. Let me go through it again. You hit print, and then you hit, oh Lord, I gotta fix it. They have it. Oh, this is study plan. Okay. Hit print, and it'll ask you, a little box will come up in the middle. Ignore that. It'll come up and it'll say print this problem or print the whole assignment. Okay? Now, you need to make a note about this in your notes. If you're going to use print my assignment, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't go into homework every other day and do problems and work on the paper. Why? What's going to happen? Every time you do a problem, what does it do? It regenerates. All right? So let's say Monday, you print out 5.1 assignment. You have 35 problems or 25 problems printed out. Boom. Got it written right there. And then you say, I'll do that later. And then you go over here and you click on number 5.1, number 1, and it looks exactly like the one on the paper. Right? And then you do it, and it changes it. Okay? It changes the problem because you just did it. You got it right, or you got it wrong or whatever. The whole point is, you need to mark it on here that you've done it and you got it correct so you don't do it twice. Or you can't mess up over here and regenerate the problem, because when you go to type this problem in, if you miss that problem, the next generated problem is not going to be the problem that you did old-fashioned way. You see what I'm saying? So your best alternative, if you're going to print out the assignment, don't go back into the homework until you're ready to do what? Type in the answers, okay? Don't do both. You're going to get mixed up. So if you're going to do the old-fashioned print the assignment, and then just don't go back to 5.1 homework until you're ready to print out. But you can't take advantage of the help me solve this. You see what I'm saying? You got to be careful there what you want. If you want to go back to the old ways of paper and pencil, you're not going to benefit from. You'll have to go and find a problem like it in study plan and look at the videos there. Because once you do help me solve this and go through the problem, it's going to change that problem to another problem. Okay? So don't do that. So make a decision what you want to do. Now, what is the last thing? And that's this. Ask my instructor. Now, nobody in here has had me before. Okay? I don't think. So, you have no idea how I do my class. The way I do my class is I let the students gauge how fast we go. How do I do that? Well, let me just show you how this works. I don't know how to do this problem. I tried to find it in the book. I tried to help me solve this. I helped view an example. I tried to watch a video and he confused me. I can't read, so I'm just going to quit. When you're at that point to where you're so mad that you can't see straight, or you're confused and you don't know what to do, or you just get impatient with it, all you do is just hit Ask My Instructor, and I'm going to put something funny, but this is stupid, okay? Now, I spelled that incorrectly for a reason. I want you to see that as soon as you hit send, boop, next day rolls around, y'all coming into class, I'm in here putting my stuff together. I go over to my handy dandy email. One of these days, probably when I'm in a wheelchair, Tri-County Tech will get up to speed one of these days. Nobody uses email in their classroom. So they set the log in at like 10 minutes. That's why. So I have to log in I thought it logged me out. Okay, it didn't. Now, under here, I'm going to go under Math 155. And it should, is that it right there? Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, see there? This is stupid. That wasn't 30 seconds. It sent it right to my email. The next morning when we meet, I pull up the Math 155, and how many will I have? I don't know what this is. Let's see. No, shift. Okay, delete. Will I just have one question? No, I'll have 15. Now what do I do with that? Well, we do it in class. So you have class, and then you have office hours in class. The squeaky door gets what? Grease. Your parents did good. All right? The squeaky door gets, you can use the OIL word, but I don't pronounce it correctly according to Yankees, so I don't say it. Okay? So I use the word grease. You send those. I know the class is not ready to go where? To the next section until I go over those questions. All right? If you don't send me any questions, I'm going on to 5.2. So the class is gauged on who? On you. The pace of the class is on you. If you send me a bunch of homework questions, I'm going to go over them. Now, what if everybody sends the same question? Then I know I didn't do my job right. Okay? And then I will take another day to go over that type question because evidently y'all are all on drugs. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't cover the material right. Okay? So that's how you do it. And look, I don't even have to look it up. All I do is click on it, and it takes me to your question. That's the good part. You don't have to write anything down. You don't have to print. All you have to do is hit 2 buttons. Ask my instructor and send. That's all you have to hit. You don't even have to type anything. Okay? Question. Great. Complaint. Let me see what time it is. What time's class over? Okay, we good. All right. So make sure you use this. Do not. I despise to hear a student say, "Oh, I thought it was a dumb question." The only dumb questions are the ones I have to repeat. Okay? That's the only dumb questions there are. I tell you that, I forgot what I told you. If I tell you that the last day of class is January 3rd, and I give you 4 unit tests, and on the 4 unit tests you have a bonus question that says, what day is the last day of class? You coming up to me and asking me what day is the last day of class a week before the semester ends, that's a stupid question. Okay? There is no stupid question when you don't know or haven't been given the information. Does everybody understand what I just said? There is no stupid question if you don't know, you don't have the access to the knowledge, or you haven't been shown. There's no stupid question. And that's what that phrase means. There is no stupid question if you haven't been shown, you don't know, or you're confused. Okay? Not that the instructor has already told you, put it on handouts, and told you to put it on your calendar. Okay? All right? So I don't want, and this is the second most hated thing I hear. Oh, well, I was going to send it, or you don't have to go over that one. I understand how to do it now. If you send it, guess what? Someone else probably sent it too, or they have the same question. All right? And that is true. I don't care what class you're in. If you have a question, probably somebody in that same classroom has that same question. Okay? So remember that, and don't say that to me, because I'm going to go over those questions. I'm going to go over every one of them before I go to the next section. Now, I am laid back on homework dates. I don't cut off the homework until the day before the test. I do it for 2 reasons. One is some of y'all will make me pull my hair out if I put dates every other day because of your 15 dead grandmothers, your 15 flat tires, your house catching on fire, and you not being able to do your homework in 2 days. You know, 5.1, I go over it, you do it in 2 days. Okay? Y'all, I pick my own battles. And I'm not going to go there. I did that one semester, and I will never do that again. Okay? I had to change dates every other day for every class because students could not do it. And then they'd whine, oh, well, I had this and I had. So I give you whatever span it takes me to go through 5.1 through 5 point whatever or 10.1, and then I pull the test up. I say, okay, we're going to do the test today. It's usually after the review day. I go over that last section. Okay. Then I say, okay, next week, next Monday, we're going to have or next Wednesday, we're going to go over the test review. I'm going to pull it up. We're going to go over it. I'm going to assign the days. You're going to write them in your notebook so you don't have to ask that question. And then I'm going to assign the homework termination. But if you haven't done any of the homework, you're going to be doing all that homework the day before the test. What if you have questions? USOL. Because the next day y'all come back, I'm going to be going over chapter 6. So the double-edged sword there is if you wait till the last minute, you might not get that help that you need through Ask My Instructor. Does everybody understand that? Now, what about the last section if I do the homework like I'm supposed to? I give y'all a day to ask questions. Like if you do 5.3, and that's the last unit, and then we're going to have a test. I will give you Wednesday, since we're not coming to school Monday, I'll give you Wednesday to go over Ask My Instructor questions. So you usually have a day or two in there that you can work on problems enough to send me questions. If you don't take advantage of that, whose fault is that? You. Okay? It's not my fault. And that's what Ask My Instructor does. Out of all the stuff that I show you, Ask My Instructor is the number one thing that I use in my class. Okay? I use it to help the students. I use it to gauge the class. Okay? And that's Ask My Instructor. So use it. If you don't use it, then that's up to you. Please don't come in here. There's one student that does it every semester. Will you do number 15 on 5.3? No. Can you do a problem on homework on 5.3? Yeah? Did you send it to me? No. How many buttons you have to push to send me a question? 2. They don't send it to me. Okay, what problem in 5.1? Oh, I don't know. Let me find it. And then they pull out their notebook that's got paper sticking out of it. Okay, you know the type of student I'm talking about? All right, I'll find it. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Oh, this is English notebook. She puts the English notebook down and picks up the math notebook. It's got paper sticking out of it too. Main thing is, I'm not going to do that. We're not doing that. Another reason, my first semester is the worst on the teacher. Oh my gosh, it's awful. You get all nervous and everything. Well, I was teaching an intermediate algebra class, and there was this girl in there, and about 3 weeks into the semester, she comes to me with a question. And she says, I can't do this problem. I've done it 5 or 6 times. I wrote it down, wrote it on the board. Back then we had whiteboards and chalkboards. I wrote it down. I did that problem for an hour and a half. Did it 6 or 7 times. I could not get her answer. Then we decided to look in the book. Guess what? Anybody want to take a guess? She wrote the problem down wrong. Ever since then, I never took a question from a student unless they give me the book or unless I have the book. I'm not doing that again. And that was like 94. That was like my first semester. And of course, half the class wasn't even paying attention. The Bubba's in the back. You know, they don't even know what day it is. Yeah, man, you don't know what you're doing. They didn't even know what they were doing. They didn't even do the problem. They were just jumping on me because it was my first semester. And I didn't know what I was doing. How you expect us to know what we're doing? Shut up. All right? I told them. I said, leave. Anyway, they're just going on. But the whole point is, the only way I'll do a question is if you show me in the book the problem, or if you send it to me, or if you print it out and send it to me. Those 3 things. Ask my instructor, give me the book, or give me the printout. I'm not going to take written problems. Okay? Now, let's look at the test. Well, if I can find it. there it is. Sorry. Main menu. Assignments. Hubert's Unit 1 test. Now I want you to look and see what this thing tells you. What's that word right there? Due. Let's all discuss what due means. It's when you got to turn it in by. Now why do I ask that? Because somebody will come up to me the day after or 2 to 3 days after we do the test in class, and they will say, when's the test due? I have no idea. That's what I'm going to tell you. Because all you got to do is take your laptop, go to take my test, or go to the calendar and look. Because it will tell you in 2 or 3 different ways when it's due. By the calendar, by this, or when you hit the hyperlink, it's going to bring up another screen that tells you when it's due. Same thing with the homework. So don't ask me when something's due. After I put it in there, do you think I memorize it? No, I don't. Would you? No. If you write down when something's due, do you try to memorize it or do you rely on your notes? You rely on your notes. So why do you think I'm going to do it? Okay? What does it say over here? What does that say? Right here on the top, right there. Golly. What the students ask? How long we got to take the test? Attempts. 0 of 3. There's the 3 attempts. Takes the highest grade. Now here's where I get into all these questions. Now I want you to, here's the number one question. Suppose I make a 98 on the first test. Do I have to take the other 2? I have no idea. What did I just tell you? 30 seconds ago. What did I tell you? I told you that I take the what grade? The highest grade. I've set my course up to where if you make a 0, a 58, and a 90, the MyLabs, the grade book, will throw the 2 lowest grades away and pick. I do that on the final. I do it on all the tests. Okay? So don't do that. Okay? Please don't write me an email with. Now that is not a stupid question, but it is a question that you need to think about. If I make a 98, there's 2 reasons you don't need to take another attempt if you make a 98. What's one of them? Be happy with the 98. Okay? The second reason is I just told you that I take the highest grade. If you got 3 grades, 98, 100, 98, a 0, and a 0, what's the thing going to take? It's going to take the 98. Now, again, I'm preaching to the 1% because I get so sick of those 1%, 2% questions. I get sick of them. So I'm taking that on y'all, just like my other classes. I take them out on them too. I'm preaching to the choir, but I'll have somebody ask me the last week of class. I'll say, do you average grades together or do you? I have no idea. Okay? And what does this say right here? Grade book score. So when you finish, there's where you find your grade, or you can go to grade book and find it there. Pretty simple. Now that we've decided what all this means, there it is again. Now, why does it ask us if we want to start the test? Well, there's some people that are in these classes, 1%, 2%, that will take a test while all the kids are running around the house. The dog is chasing the cat, and the cat's chasing the dog. The husband or the wife is on a 3-day drunk, ranting and raving. I'm exaggerating. There's lightning storm outside with lightning, tornadoes, and hurricanes. And the house is about to fall in. I guess I'm ready to start. I'm ready to take this test. You have got to be kidding me. You do not know how many thunderstorms we've had. And there'll be a test in there sometime, during the week. They will wait until the thunderstorm to take the test. And they call me, and I'm on the cell phone in the thunderstorm, or they text me, my test just blew up. It's incomplete. I don't reply, especially if it's during a thunderstorm. One, I was always taught, don't get on the cell phone, don't get on a phone in the thunderstorm, don't take a shower in the thunderstorm. I was always taught that. All right. Two, you take a test in the middle of not rain. I'm talking the sky is purple. All right. Every 5 seconds, the sky is purple and this person's taking a test. Okay. So don't do that. Take it with a half a bottle of Merlot. I'm sorry. Or half a bottle of Jack Daniels, or tea or water, whatever everybody drinks, okay? Please don't say I'm telling y'all to get drunk, because that's what one of my students told my boss. He told us we should drink alcohol. Some of these people, they have driver's licenses and they procreate. It just amazes me. And I'm only talking about 1 or 2%. Black sheep. Math question. Look how many questions we got. How many questions we got? 35. Now that's a little bit, but just be patient. Let's see what the test looks like. And then, what's this up here? It's ticking. What is that? Time. Okay? That's the time we've been on this for 30 seconds.
Said it was due at 2.
Yeah.
It was what?
It was due at 2.
Gotta get started.
So it's going to time you out.
It looks like it just has 14 seconds.
That's because it's fixing to be 2 o'clock, and it only that it was due to at 2
Yep.
today.
So it'll auto submit what you have.
Well, horse bookie. Let me just do this. I'll just do.
6 seconds.
Yeah, that's what happens when you run out of time. Okay, let's get out of that. Okay, I can go to review. That's all right. We're just looking to see what it looks like. All right, so there's a math question. Math question. Oh, bonus question. That comes from your handouts and your syllabus. Okay? Does Hubert replace your lowest test grade with your final exam grade? No way, no how. Now, we take 4-unit tests. These are the same questions. They're on each test. So you get each question how many times during the semester?
4.
Don't ask that question at the end of the semester. Because I'll look at you, I'll say, I have no idea, and then I'll look at you like you are non-sentient. Okay? Math question. Oh, another one. When is the last day of class for this semester? Y'all starting to see a pattern with the answers?
Yeah.
Which one is it? Monday, April 23rd. Where do you get that? Academic calendar. I gave you that. Told you to put it in your notebook. What should a student do if something happens and they are out of class for a while? Examples: a funeral, a high school event, a wreck. C. Anytime an answer starts with the word communicate, it's usually the answer. Okay? DAD is dumb attitude disorder. I had to change the middle word because somebody complained. Somebody was offended. It's a donkey. Okay? It's a donkey. In your grade book, to find your final grade after you have completed all your assignments, which button should you push or choose? Overall grade. I didn't go over that, but there it is, overall grade. I'll show it to you later on. Math question. What is Hubert's email address and cell number? Why should you not get this one wrong? Nope. I'm sorry, what? Why is the answer common sense? Look at the other three. It's the only real number and cell number on there, or it's the only real one. Does anybody get it wrong? maybe 1 or 2 out of 30. Oh, that ain't the good. Wait till you see the ones that's most missed. That's not the most missed. Math, this is the most missed question. Why do they miss it? Because I have another numerical answer on there. What's wrong with 30, 30, 30? It doesn't equal what? It doesn't equal 100. That's the most missed question. 5 out of 30 missed that question. Now, do I do these bonuses because I'm trying to make fun of you? No. The reason I do these bonuses is for 3 reasons. 1, I don't want to hear those questions at the end of the semester. 2, I want to see if you actually can use a little bit of what? Common sense. All right? And 4, back about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we had a directive from one of those people that know everything that said that we need to start incorporating our syllabus and handouts into our lesson plans or into our lessons. And I said, I'm just going to do it on test because that's less work. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. So if it's on my handout or on a handout that I'm giving you or a syllabus, it's going to be on there. Okay? Oops. Math, 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 math. If you take several forms of a test in Hubert's class, how is it counted? He takes the highest grade and drops the lowest. Now I will take, no, that ain't the one I like. There's one, I call you a loser and fail you. I'll take that answer. The one that tells you to live in a ditch. So math, 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 math. If a student does not complete a homework assignment or test, they just don't do it because they had 5 dead grandmothers and a funeral that lasted 21 days. Okay? What grade will be recorded for that assignment? That's to the students that think they're going to make a C and they're going to miss 2 tests. You're going to flunk if you miss 2 tests. How do you miss 2 tests when you got a week to take it? A 15-day funeral and 5 flat tires. Why does Hubert not entertain extra credit, extra points, dropping any grades during the final weeks of the semester? Because I give you bonus points when I give you these questions, and I give you bonus points technically when I let you take the test 3 times and you drop the lowest 2. If you look at your overall grade at the end of the semester, and it has decreased from several days ago, what has happened? A 0 has been placed for a missing assignment. Again, these are for students. We have students, 3 or 4 every class. They will miss homework problems and they will miss a test, and then they act surprised when they get a D. I don't understand how I made a D. That's why I put this question on there. Which branch? Well, that's kind of self-explanatory. When does the homework terminate? Toward the end of the unit material, when Hubert sets the date in MyLabs during class. Math, math, math. When is the week of finals? The only date that's possible. And those of you that are offended about 1941, no, I'm offended by September 11th. That's what I forgot. If you miss a question on a test, this is the one I like. If you miss a question on a test and you believe it's correct, what do? Call Hubert's office 5 or 6 times and leave 5 or 6 voicemails. Send several emails to Hubert with the last one saying, hello. Scream and throw a temper tantrum. Or see me after class. If you have incomplete assignments and Hubert puts a 0 in for the grade, what will that do to your grade? It will decrease it. Now, how many bonus questions did we have? 15. How many are on the test? 30. Everybody should make at least a what on each test? A 50. Will they?
Nope.
Zeros, 27s, 36s. Bet me. I'll bet you a biscuit.
What the world?
No, you better not bet me a biscuit because you'll lose. Somebody will make a 37 in this class. Well, in a normal class. I don't think anybody will make a 37 in here. All right, who has questions for me? Okay, now this concludes the first day and second day. All right, that's concluded. So that means that Wednesday we will, when's class over? 2:10? What time is it right now?
2 teams.
You kidding me? Ain't no way.